Hello dear student, I am Mrs. Usha Lodawat, physics teacher from Ferguson College, Pune. In previous lecture, we have already started the first chapter of the 12th, that is rotational dynamics, and in rotation learned till uniform circular motion. Now let us move to the PowerPoint presentation. So this about the uniform circular motion we have already seen in the last lecture. Okay, so I will revise it again. In uniform circular motion, speed of the particle which perform the motion will be always remaining constant. Okay, so there is a speed of, as the speed is remaining constant, then there is a no rate of change of angular velocity, so angular acceleration will be zero. But due to the change in tangential velocity, there is an centripetal acceleration. So in uniform circular motion, acceleration is always the centripetal acceleration and not the angular acceleration. Now, and again we have seen that the centripetal acceleration is always acting along the radius toward the center of circle, and direction of the linear velocity is always along the tangent to the circle. Now from this animation, this direction is clear. This green arrow showing the direction of the centripetal acceleration at any position, it is directing along the radius toward the center of the circle. Now this red arrow is showing the direction of the linear velocity at any position, it is remaining along the tangent to the circle. So this is about the uniform circular motion. After that, we will see what is the non-uniform circular motion. So non-uniform circular motion is the motion in which the speed of the particle at every position is going on changing, or we can say that the magnitude of the velocity is going on changing. So if magnitude as well as direction of the velocity of the particle performing the circular motion is going on changing, then it is known as the non-uniform circular motion. Again we know, as the direction of the linear velocity at every instant is along the tangential to the circle, there is an centripetal acceleration, so which is acting along the radius toward the center of the circle. So but along with the centripetal acceleration, there is an angular acceleration also, because the magnitude of the velocity at every instant is going on changing, and rate of change of this velocity is nothing but the angular acceleration alpha. So angular acceleration is given by the equation alpha equal to d omega by dt, and direction of this angular acceleration alpha is along the axis of rotation, and which is also founded by using the right hand thumb rule. Now see, the best example of the non-uniform circular motion is the motion of fan. If the fan is switched on, then the rate of rotation is going on increasing, so that the direction of the angular velocity omega and angular acceleration alpha is same. Now, if the fan is switched off, means what? The rate of rotation is going on decreasing, so that the direction of the angular acceleration alpha and angular velocity omega, it is opposite. Okay, so this is the example of a non-uniform circular motion. Means in non-uniform circular motion, along with the centripetal acceleration, there is an angular acceleration. Okay, now after that we will see, here is the difference between uniform circular motion and non-uniform circular motion that we have already learned. Okay, so what is the first difference? Circular motion with constant angular speed is known as the uniform circular motion, and circular motion with variable angular speed is known as non-uniform circular motion. Then for uniform circular motion, angular velocity alpha equal to 0 as the magnitude of the velocity is remaining constant. Whereas for non-uniform circular motion, this angular acceleration alpha will not be equal to 0. Then in uniform circular motion, work done by tangential force is 0 because the magnitude of the velocity is constant. So the work done by tangential force will be 0. Here the work done by the tangential force is not equal to 0 because the magnitude of the velocity in a tangential direction is going on changing, so that there is a force in the tangential direction. Now, after that, we will see what are the dynamics of the circular motion. Now, basically, about the dynamics, we have already seen that dynamics is the branch of physics which deals with the motion of the object under the action of force. Means here we are going to learn about the motion and its cause, which is the forces. So here in this dynamics, we are going to learn about the centripetal force and centrifugal force. So first we will see what is the centripetal force. As the acceleration of a particle performing the circular motion is centripetal acceleration, which is acting along the radius toward the center of a circle, the force will be acting in the same direction of this acceleration, and this is known as the centripetal force. So it is the force directed along the radius toward the center of the circle. Now see, this is the figure. The centripetal force is directing along the radius and toward the center of a circle. Centripetal force is given by the equation of minus m omega square r, where m is the mass of the particle performing the circular motion and this omega square r is the centripetal acceleration just we have seen. So centripetal force is minus of m into omega square r because centripetal force is mass into acceleration, and direction of the centripetal force is same as the direction of this acceleration. So here I am taking minus sign. Now again we know that v equal to r omega, so that omega is equal to v by r. Substitute this value of the omega in this equation, we will get it is equal to mv square by r. So centripetal force in this circular motion is given by the equation minus mv square by r. Now again, it is the type of real force such as electrostatic force, gravitational force, frictional force, maybe nuclear force, etc. Now, in the next we will see how it is a type of real force. See, here, when the moon is revolving round the earth, or the earth at the same time earth is revolving round the sun, here the necessary centripetal force which is required for this circular motion of the moon or earth in the orbit is given by the gravitational force of attraction between the earth and the sun, or between the moon and the earth. So we can say that here the centripetal force is in the form of a gravitational force. Next we will see how this centripetal in the form of a electrostatic force. Now consider the example here. This is the positively charged nucleus around which this negatively charged electrons, they are revolving in a circular orbit. So necessary centripetal force which is required to keep this negatively charged electron moving around the positively charged nucleus is given by the electrostatic force of attraction between the negatively charged electron and positively charged nucleus. Means we can say that the centripetal force here is in the form of electrostatic force. Now we will see how the centripetal force is in the form of frictional force. Now suppose this vehicle is moving along a curved horizontal road. Okay, now here centripetal force which is required to keep this vehicle moving along a horizontal curved road is provided by the frictional force between the tires of the vehicle and the road surface. Means we can say that now the centripetal force is in the form of frictional force. So in this way we have seen that the centripetal force is always a type of real force. After that we will see what is the centrifugal force. Now this centrifugal force is same in magnitude of the centripetal force but is in opposite direction to that of the centripetal force. So it is the force directing along the radius and away from the center of the circle. Now fugal force is given by the equation m into omega square r. Here I have to take positive sign, not the negative, because centrifugal force is away from the center of circle which is in the same direction of this position vector. Again we know the relation V equal to R omega. So omega equal to V upon R. If I am substituting this value of the omega here, so this equation will become mv square by R. Again, it is the type of pseudo force or the non-real force as it is arising due to the acceleration of the frame of reference. Now, we will see how it is a type of real force. Now, before that, just I will show you what is the difference between the centrifugal force and centripetal force. It is centripetal force is the force which is directing along the radius toward the center of circle, and this centrifugal force is directing along the radius but away from the center of the circle. Now we have to see how it is a type of pseudo force or the non-real force. The best example of the centrifugal force is merry-go-round. Okay, now initially if this merry-go-round is rotating with uniform speed and person is sitting on a merry-go-round which is rotating with uniform speed, and in this case suppose the person closes his eye, then he will feel that he is at rest, not in a motion. Why? Because in that case merry-go-round is rotating with uniform speed. Means what? Merry-go-round is in inertial frame of reference. So in inertial frame of reference, no force is acting on a body of a person so that the person is feeling that he is at rest, not in a motion. But suppose after some time the merry-go-round is moving with an acceleration. Means now the merry-go-round is in accelerated frame of reference. Then the person sitting on the merry-go-round will be pushed in the outward direction because there is a force which is acting along the radius but away from the center of the circle, so that this person is feeling or this person is pushed in the outward direction. Means here this force is acting on the person due to the acceleration of this frame of reference of the merry-go-round. In this way, the centrifugal force is a non-real force or it is a pseudo force, as this force is arising due to the acceleration of the frame of reference. Because when the merry-go-round is rotating with the uniform speed, then centripetal and centrifugal forces, they are balancing each other. Whereas when the merry-go-round is rotating with an acceleration, then there is only the centrifugal force acting on the person so that the person is pushed in the outward direction. Now, here a best example of this centrifugal force is the giant wheel. See, this giant wheel is rotating which is in an accelerated frame of reference. The person sitting on the giant wheel they are pushing in the outward direction, because here the force is acting along the radius but away from the center of this giant wheel. Now, again, here we will see what is the difference between the centripetal and centrifugal forces. Just we have seen all these. Okay. Now see, this is the centripetal and this is the centrifugal force. Centripetal force is directed along the radius toward the center of the circle, whereas the centrifugal force is directed along the radius away from the center of circle. Then it is a real force and it is a pseudo force or non-real force, as this force is arising due to the acceleration of the frame of reference. Then it is considered inertial frame of reference, just we have seen, and it is considered in non-inertial frame of reference or accelerated frame of reference. In vector form, the centripetal force is given by the equation minus mv square by r into r0, that is the unit vector in the direction opposite to that of the force. Whereas in vector form it is given by the plus mv square into unit vector r0. Now after that we will see what are the applications of the uniform circular motion. So first application is vehicle moving along a horizontal circular track. Consider this figure. So this is the vertical section of a vehicle which is moving along a horizontal curved track of center of curvature C and radius R. Now again, from figure you can see that there are three forces acting on the vehicle: weight mg in vertically downward direction, normal reaction n in vertically upward direction, and this force of friction between the tires of vehicle and the road surface. Okay, again it is clear that this normal reaction and weight mg, they are equal and opposite. They balances each other and they does not affect the motion of the vehicle in horizontal direction. So that all the necessary centripetal force which is required for the motion of the vehicle along a horizontal circular track is provided by this force of static friction between the tires of the vehicle and the road surface. So I can write down from this figure this mg equal to n, as they are balancing with each other, and as this static friction provide the centripetal force, I can write down Fs equal to mr omega square. Again we know the relation V equal to R omega, so that omega equal to V by R. Substitute the value of the omega here, we will get the equation mv square by R. Now take the ratio Fs divided by this n, which is equal to mv square by R divided by mg. So this m is getting cancelled. So this equation will become V square by Rg. Again, in 11th standard, you have studied that the force of static friction is, or the limiting force of the friction is directly proportional to the normal reaction, and this mu s is the constant of proportionality, which is the coefficient of static friction between the tires of the vehicle and the road surface. So I can write down maximum force of static friction as equal to mu s into n. So I will take the ratio of Fs divided by n, which is equal to mu s, or which I can write down V square maximum divided by Rg, because Fs by n is equal to V square divided by Rg. Or I can write down V maximum is equal to square root of Rg, square root of mu s into Rg. So this is the equation for maximal speed of a vehicle moving along a curved horizontal road. Okay, now we will see second application of the uniform circular motion, that is well or wall of death, or which is also known as in Hindi maut ka kuwa. Now, in this case, this idea is used while performing the stunt in the circus. Now, in this case, this vehicle is moving along a horizontal direction in between the two cylindrical walls. Okay, again from figure it is clear that there are three forces acting on the vehicle. Its weight mg in vertically downward direction, normal reaction n in a horizontal direction which is along the radius and toward the center of a circle, and force of static friction in vertically upward direction. Now, basically we know that in previous case we have seen that n and mg, they are equal and opposite. Here it is not. Here vertical direction means what? Person is leaning in this direction. So for this purpose, person, this normal reaction is in vertical direction. Okay. Now we can say that why this force of static friction is there existing? Because if there is no force of static friction, then it is not possible for the vehicle to move along a horizontal direction, because in that case n and mg, they will be balancing to each other, or if this mg will be greater than this n, then vehicle will be falling down. Okay, so for keeping this vehicle in horizontal circular motion, a force of friction must be acting, and due to that force of friction, this weight mg will balancing. So again see, this force of friction is in vertically upward direction, weight mg in vertically downward direction. They are equal and opposite, so they are cancelled to each other. And we can say that there is no component of the force in the vertical direction, so that it can oppose the motion in the horizontal direction. So all the necessary centripetal force which is required for the motion of vehicle in a circular direction is provided by this force, which is the normal reaction. So I can write down here n equal to mr omega square, which is the centripetal force, or which is equal to mv square by r, and this mg equal to fs. Now force of static friction, again you know, is here always less than or equal to mu s into n. This force of static friction should be less than n, so that the vehicle can easily overcome this force of static friction and move in a horizontal direction. So I can write down this force of static friction is less than or equal to mu s into n. Therefore, this Fs equal to mg. So I can write down mg is less than or equal to mu s into n and mv square by r. So that now this m is getting cancelled. G is less than or equal to mu s into v square by r. Therefore, v square will be greater than or equal to rg divided by mu s. From this, I can write down the equation for the minimum velocity of a vehicle moving in between two cylindrical wall in a horizontal direction is given by the equation square root of rg into mu s. So this is the equation for minimum velocity of a vehicle moving in a horizontal direction in between two cylindrical walls. Now here we will solve some numerical which depends upon the centripetal forces, then the maximum velocity. See, first numerical, coefficient of static friction between a coin and a gramophone disc is 0.5. Radius of the disc is 8 centimeter. Initially, the center of the coin is pi centimeter away from the center of the disc. At what minimum frequency will it start slipping from there? By what factor will the answer change if the coin is almost at the rim? You are given g equal to pi square meter per second. Now see, I will write here the given data r equal to 8 centimeter, that is radius of the disc. Then small r, it is given to you the pi centimeter. With this distance is pi centimeter from the circle, and coefficient of the friction is given to 0.5. Now what is the condition? The coin is slipping, the force of friction acting is Fs, which is equal to mu into mg, and it is acting toward the left direction and attracted toward the center or balanced by the centripetal force. So I can write down centripetal force Fc equal to mv square by r, or I can write down it is equal to mr into omega square. Now for the balancing condition, this static friction will always be equal to the centripetal force. Means force of friction will be equal to the centripetal force. Now force of friction, just we have seen, it is given by the equation mu into mg, and this is the centripetal force mr omega square. Then this m is getting cancelled, so mu g will be equal to r into omega square, or I can write down omega square is equal to mu g divided by r. We know omega is 2 pi n. So here I can write down 2 pi n1 whole square equal to mu g divided by r. Simplify the equation in this manner. The value for this n1 will get 2 revolution per second, which is the actual value 1.995, but it is approximately 2 revolution per second. Then for the coil, in second case, for the coil which is almost at the rim, then small r is capital R, which is the radius of that circle, which is equal to 8 centimeter or 8 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter. Again, I can write down the same equation, that is omega square is equal to mu g divided by r. Here I will take omega as 2 pi n2, which is equal to mu g divided by r. Now simplify the equation in this manner. The value for the n2, that is the frequency, will become 0.63 into n1. Hello dear student, in this way we have learned about the uniform circular motion, non-uniform circular motion, then centripetal and centrifugal forces, then difference between the two, and we have also seen the application of this uniform circular motion, and we have solved the numerical on this centripetal, centrifugal forces and speed of the particle. Thank you.